they really would be a good match, or would have been a good match, right? But they just didn't believe it, because most of the guys they're used to are who? Loser alphas. High intellect guys screw it up, because if they're not putting that intellect in the social dynamics, here's what happens. The mean IQ is 100 in the United States, lower in some places, not much higher in other places. So these women that are out there, the average chick, even the average hot chick, is 100 IQ. So if you're a smart guy with several points above 100, you're on that other side of the standard deviation. Okay. What happens is your level of thinking and where you're at is higher than hers, which doesn't fit what she's comfortable with socially. Remember, women are social animals. We're all social animals, but women are affected socially much more so and much greater than guys are. Okay. So you can bury yourself in your engineering problems and be cool with that, happy with that. And it's not just an introvert extrovert thing. Some of that stuff is very horoscope thinking anyway. But women are very concerned and more concerned about their social standing. So I'll give you an example. Let's say their normal social environment is dealing with kind of the country-ish looking dude with an old beat up pickup truck, and he works the trades or something, makes like a below average income. He smokes a little pot here and there, chews tobacco, has a beard, is in, kind of fat because he doesn't take care of his body. And that's what she's used to. That's her normal. That's the normal guy in her social circle. To step outside of that normal is going to create a comfort problem, and is going to send her some danger signals. And so let's say normal guys that she's around there are dumb frat guys. Okay. Well, if you're higher intelligence than that, but not necessarily socially calibrated, what does that mean by socially calibrated? That means you connect with her on a social level, despite her level of intelligence. You have social empathy. You can tell what she's thinking and feeling and make empathetic statements, right? And resonate with her, pull topics out of her that she's interested in, talk at her level without dumbing yourself down or making her feel stupid. These are social talents. And without those social talents, she will be uncomfortable because it doesn't fit what she's used to in a tribal sense. You know what I mean? This is somebody now that is outside of her tribe in a way, but in an unattractive way, not in an attractive way, because those are two different things. And so it doesn't fit, what she would normally sleep with. And so that anxiety comes up too high. That anxiety because remember, women are innately like their consequences for sleeping with the wrong guy, even though they do it constantly because they're dumb. Not all women, of course, but your chimpanzee brain is dumb. Okay. And so they make dumb decisions all the time, but sticking with some sort of social norms, whatever those norms are, that signals a level of survival for her. All right. Try to put it in a different way. Take a girl who's used to hanging around with like kind of dumb guys in the basement, smoking a little weed and drinking on Fridays and whatever. Okay. With low income guys. That's her normal crowd of guys she sleeps with. And then she gets some job somewhere, and now she's hanging around with, let's say, accountants and attorneys at a firm. And let's say it's some corporate accounting firm, right? And all these guys are higher level. She's going to feel uncomfortable in that environment and often turn down guys or not sleep with guys in that environment. Why? Because in a sense, her social circles that she's used to isn't this social circle, and it's triggering something in her brain, some anxiety, like don't have their babies. We're not sure. You know what I mean? If this is safe or not. We're not sure if you're getting good genetics or not. Like it doesn't signal the right things. Now take that, let's say take an accountant from that firm, give him some social calibration. All right. If he's socially calibrated, he can draw this girl into that discomfort she feels from that environment in those circles. And maybe this guy's IQ in comparison to the IQs, the other guys that she's with, she becomes drawn into him through that social connection. What then happens? She sees this dude as super alpha. Now she's alpha widowed by this accountant. Now she's not hanging around in someone's basement and smoking weed on Fridays and Saturdays and whatever, right? And now she's trying to do things to fit in with this other social circle because she sees this dude as a top tier guy, and he was able to game her and pull her into that, give her enough comfort. Ryan Stone makes this joke all the time. Like, David Buss has done a bunch of studies on why women sleep with dudes, and there's like 800 different reasons. And he's right. So it's good to understand the alpha beta dynamics that red pill circles talk about. You know, we talk about that stuff. It's good to understand it, but you want to not be so binary with that. And don't take it personal when a girl doesn't respond to you in the way that she responded to a fat idiot, because that fat idiot was maybe a safe guy for her to sleep with. So women do have an innate, like, women, you'll hear a woman say, oh no, he looks like trouble. Okay. Like, he's attractive. I would sleep with him. I would give him all of my holes, and then he would kick me to the curb, or he would do whatever he wants with me. And I would be on an emotional roller coaster, and it would destroy me for any future men. When she says something like that, I mean, it's not always that deep, but when she talks about a guy like he's dangerous or trouble, in a sense of him being attractive, though, not, of course, him being creepy, but him being attractive, she means that this is a guy who she would stop her life for this guy if she got too deep with him, because that's how attractive he is. She'll say no to that guy if she doesn't think she could keep him. So that's a thing, guys. When you're out there talking or dealing with some girl who's putting up some barriers, and you know that the guys she normally sleeps with are losers, she could be doing that because she's afraid of being alpha widowed, meaning she knows if she went in the direction of going with you, she might just be another girl to you. But to her, it might be the best experience she has. In which case, now what? Right? Now what's she supposed to do? Women don't really understand when they make the beta Bucks decision. They marry that guy when they're 28. When they marry the beta at 28 for resources and achieving her goals after banging the alphas, they don't understand that they've been doing that. They're not consciously aware of that stuff. You know what I mean? They just think, well, I was having fun and now I'm going to settle down, right? That's how they look at it. They don't really look at it that other way. And most of the times, who are they having fun with? Safe alpha losers, right? Safe alpha douchebags, meaning they're lower level alpha, lower SMV. You know, it's the guy he's bartending and slaying it at 22, and then he's bartending and broke and has a drug problem and 35 and still gets laid sometimes, but no one's gonna want to get wifed up by that guy unless she has a personality disorder, right? Like, that's that loser alpha. You know what I mean? So most of these guys she slept with, those guys, but she might meet that guy who's like, man, if I sleep with that guy, like, he's gonna ruin my life. I can't keep that guy. He's not gonna stick with me. Why would he go for me? She's thinking those things, and so she might give an attitude, right? If you've heard of making your necessity a virtue. Oh, he's a dork, you know, or oh, whatever. You know, she'll neg the guy. She'll give little disrespectful points. She'll make it sound like she doesn't want that guy, but when really she would stop her life with that guy, she knows that that's dangerous. And so she's going to, out of necessity, she feels like, because she doesn't think she could ever keep it going with that guy, she's going to put up those barriers, even give attitude or play hard to get or whatever, because she thinks that that guy's way too high SMV. And so if you're in that position and you're getting that kind of feedback, like, women that are not attracted to you or think that you're beta, they'll either be disgusted by you or they'll just ignore you. most like the incel types and guys who really need a lot of work out there. And I'm not slamming on you if that's you. I'm glad you're here. I'm watching my channel. Okay. But those guys that really struggle, she's just ignoring that guy. She's just not even swiping on his Tinder or whatever. That guy approaches her. She just goes, oh, hey, just gives him, like, brushes him off. If he gets a little too aggressive, she'll be disgusted, get away from me, offended, right? But when a girl is just kind of negging, and you're talking to a group of 2 or 3 girls, let's say, and she's kind of like, acting like, I spend a lot of time at the gym, or you pick things up, put things down, that kind of stuff. Or, trying to sort of neg you or treat you like you're a stereotype or some of those things, but she's still engaging in in conversation with you, and she's still doing that stuff. What's she doing? Making her necessity a virtue. By necessity is she doesn't feel she's attractive enough to keep you. She knows that even if she fawns all over you and you sleep with her, you're not going to value her because she's not attractive enough. And so instead of going down that route, her protective measure is to put a barrier in front of that. And so when I got my physique dialed in, I had more women saying yes right away because of the physique versus putting some of those barriers. But I started to notice that those barriers were not always because she was unattractive. In fact, a lot of times when she was still engaging, but she had those barriers came from a place of not thinking she's good enough to be with me. Okay. And so that sexual action threshold went up even higher sometimes, but then it would take something for me to really tip it over the edge. Maybe the way I looked just triggered her, and now she's now, at 9 in desire, and she had an 8 in action thresholds. She's going for it. Right. Or something else, but there had to been maybe my seduction ability to get to a place. So I started paying more attention to some of these women who are hot and attractive and kind of gave me some barriers. I found a lot of times too, that these women were high SMV too. They weren't the 6 and 5s. Sometimes they are, but they weren't always that. Sometimes they were, they really would be a good match, or would have been a good match. Right. But they just didn't believe it, because most of the guys they're used to are who? Loser alphas, the fat guy with the beard, right? That's who they're usually with. They're not disparaging beards or anything. All right. But you get what I'm saying. That typecast that she's used to, the safe lay, you're the unsafe lay. And so she's going to try to put those barriers there. But the conclusion here is this, though. Those you guys that are out there in the dating market, you have things going for you and you know it. Maybe you're that high IQ guy that needs to put some of those smarts into social dynamics. Or maybe you're the guy who has good social abilities, but you're in an area or you're in a place where people are much lower in SMV. And then the girls are responding like you're an alien. Okay. There's a lot of things that could be going on. Now, if you're not an attractive person and you need to work on yourself and your SMV is low, of course, do those things. But some of you guys, that's not you. You actually have been working on things and you're in a good place. You're just not getting the results. Understand that there's other reasons, and don't take it personally. If anything, if you forget everything we've talked about today, remember this: you cannot take rejection personally from a woman. You can never do that. It's outcome independence. If you've learned nothing else, it's the fact that what's going on up here and in her hormones is more predicated on whether you get a hell yes from her or not. So all of those no's and all those rejections are from protective measures that they have, not just unattracted to you. So some of those things are because they're unattracted to you. But a lot of times, and even if they're unattracted to you, why is that? You know what I mean? Who cares? Because it doesn't mean you're unattractive. Could be that their attraction triggers are just pointed towards a different type of guy. And that's totally fine too. Because there's another girl who's better than she is right around the corner.